So, this is part vlog and part more of a public service announcement, if you will, regarding the release of a product that does not deserve to exist, much less be purchased by you, the American consumer. That's a bit overdramatic, but nonetheless, let's go with it. So, for those who don't know, Nintendo had recently announced the mid-November release of the Wii Mini to US retailers. It's been something that's been exclusive to Canada for the past year or so. The Wii Mini, for those who don't know, is essentially a budget version of the original Wii console that costs about $100, lacks GameCube support, lacks internet access, lacks an SD memory card slot, lacks USB slots, and is a top-loading game console. Oh, and despite the name, the console itself isn't that much smaller than an original Wii in either incarnation. Now, the good news about the Wii Mini is that it costs about $100, and you could play original Wii games, which is a good thing, because it's nice to be able to play a Wii system that plays Wii games. The bad news is, you cannot play GameCube games. For some people, that's a bad thing. You cannot access the internet, which ostensibly means no Wii Shop, no Virtual Console, no WiiWare, no Netflix, no YouTube, none of that stuff. You cannot back up your save files onto an SD memory card, so if your Wii Mini becomes a brick somehow, kiss all those save files for all those games you've played goodbye. And of course, if you're looking for a Wii to hack with Homebrew, you're out of luck here, because there's no USB, there's no SD card, there's no way to do it, which I guess is a positive in Nintendo's eyes, but, setting that aside, yeah, I'm having a bit of a running nose here. It somewhat surprises me that Nintendo would go ahead and release the Wii Mini to American audiences, because I don't recall the Wii Mini doing so well up here. At least around my neck of the woods, I don't have any hard statistics. I don't know how well it sold overall. Probably did well enough to merit an American release, I guess, but this thing's been around in Canada for about a year. I guess it's mid-November last year, I think it was. And I remember going by the local Best Buy around a couple of blocks away from where I live. And I see a wall of Wii Minis. There's probably a good 20 to 30 boxes of Wii Minis there on display. And this is one day in December, Christmas holiday season and all that. People are getting gifts and all that. And out of curiosity, and so I come by one week, I see the wall of Wii Minis. I come by a week later, and I see, a week later, I think it was, a week or so later, I go to Best Buy to finalize some Christmas, excuse me, not all there today. Week later, went by for some finalizing Christmas shopping, odds and ends here and there. Out of curiosity, I go to that section where they have the Wii Minis, and they still have that pile of Wii Minis, still a good 20 to 30 units more or less, that they still had there. I don't think they sold much, probably sold like one or two, but that's about it. And it, by the way, it also retailed for like $99.99 Canadian. So about 2 days after December 26th, Boxing Day. Boxing Day is the day where everything is the day after Christmas, where everything is on sale on ridiculous prices and specials, and everyone acts like complete rabid animals, which is why I don't go to I used to do the Boxing Days thing, then I grew a brain and stayed at home, because there's really no point. Wait a couple of days for the commotion to die down. So 2 days after Boxing Day, I go back to Best Buy. As expected, a lot of the big stuff is pretty much sold. Okay, there's missing computers, DVDs for certain movies, and TVs, computers, game consoles like Xbox, PlayStations. They had a pile of Wii U's that's no longer there, conveniently enough. But among the empty aisles of scattered merchandise that somehow were not plucked away by, people wanting to, give you your money, over at that familiar section of wall was a pile of Wii Minis. A somewhat smaller pile, there's probably 2 or 3 less, but still within that 20 to 30 unit range. And I had to laugh, because even on the cheap, and I don't know if they did a price cut on the Wii Mini, but even if they did, nobody wanted a Wii Mini. And I just had to laugh at that, because you still had this pot, because you had all these empty aisles all over. The spot where they had a bunch of PS3s stacked up, gone. You know, there's a section of wall where they had the Wii U's and the 3DS's, all gone. Only one or two units remaining, probably. Wii Minis, they're all still there. Nobody wanted to do it, and I'm not trying to like, you know, over exaggerate here. I'm being gone honest. It's one of those visuals that I vividly remember. I think it took that Best Buy about 3 to 4 months, maybe a little longer, before they were even able to move units. Because I think around April or May, I saw that pile eventually starting to dwindle down to, I don't know, somewhere in the 10 to 15 units. There was still a handful there, but considerably less than what they started with. I think it might have had something to do with the fact that they dropped the price down to about $92, $93, $99. That might have helped them out there. I went back to check a couple days ago. They still have a couple units left over, but Best Buy is still somehow charging $103.99, $3 more than the actual suggested retail price or whatever. And I thought, yeah, good luck with that. You're really going to sell those last units there. So yeah, I'm quite surprised Nintendo would actually expose American audiences to this thing that has no real tangible value as a game console. None whatsoever. The Wii Minis is such an utterly worthless machine, and I'm not saying that to be anti-Wii or anti-Nintendo or anything, because I do own a Wii. I bought one back in 2008, so it's not a Wii U, it's just a Wii, and my Wii can do more shit than the Wii Mini could. I mean, hell, if you really wanted to get a Wii, you could probably track down a refurbed used one for much cheaper, and you get more value for your dollar, because a refurbed Wii could do much more than a Wii Mini, which only plays Wii games and not much else. I hate to be one of those folks who insist on telling people how to spend their money, because it's your money, you can do whatever you want with it. I honestly don't care, but I'm telling you right now, if you decide to buy a Wii Mini for whatever reason, even for the collector's value, and you do eventually buy a Wii Mini, you don't deserve to have money. No, really, the Wii Mini is such a worthless piece of plastic that it boggles the mind as to why such a thing would exist. If you're one of those folks who thought the Wii was a half-assed machine, you haven't seen a Wii Mini. That's the pinnacle of half-assery right there. You know, the funny thing is, you'd figure Nintendo would want to try and increase visibility and stock for the newer Wii U system, because, apparently that system isn't doing as well as they were hoping and stuff, because people don't know the difference between a Wii and a Wii U. But then, no, they decided to toss the Wii Mini and dilute it even more, so absolutely worthless. It's not like you're releasing a top-loading NES or a much smaller Super Nintendo, which is what they actually did, because those consoles more or less retained the full functionality of their original incarnations. There's probably only a couple outputs here and there that they got rid of. That's about it, really. The Wii Mini, takes off. You only play the Wii games and that's it. A lot of the other stuff you could do normally with the WiiWare and all that stuff, you cannot do with the Wii Mini. And you know what? I don't care about GameCube compatibility yet. GameCube is old. It's had its days. You're gonna have a hard time finding, GameCube games on sale still at retailers. You probably have to go to flea markets and online. And personally speaking, I don't care, because I already have a GameCube. If I wanted to play GameCube games, I'll play on a GameCube. It's right there sitting next to the Wii. It's the lack of internet that really hurts this thing, because that means you're cutting off access to an entire library of digital games comprising the classic titles of old through the Wii Virtual Console and newer titles under the WiiWare label. Well, not quite newer, but you get my drift. The Virtual Console WiiWare aspect of the Wii was a selling point for me personally in getting a Wii in 2008. One of the things I wanted the Wii for was the Virtual Console, because there are a lot of fantastic titles on that Wii shop that are affordable and make for a perfect introduction to video games in general if you were looking for a budget level, entry level console. And certainly a lot of games on that service that serve as a that the young kids could enjoy. And there's always this thing on the internet that young kids shouldn't be playing old games. Well, I go to the flea market, and I go to my usual vendor at the flea market, and there's usually kids. They're not looking at the 360 or the PS3 games on display. They're looking at the NES games and the Super Nintendo games, all the old, all the retro consoles from, a decade or two ago, and they're actually, buying those games. So for people to say that, kids don't care about the old games, and, and a bunch of them really, don't underestimate some kids there, but I'm getting off a tangent here. So there's a lot of titles a lot of great games on the Wii Shop side, and removing the online ability, whether, Ethernet or whatever, you're cutting that potential customer off from that plethora of excellent video games that they now cannot play because they have no access to it. No Wi-Fi, no Ethernet port, no USB ports of any kind. There's not even a memory card slot, so you could possibly back up your save games in the event your Wii Mini becomes a brick. Excuse me. It's just a worthless hunk of plastic. And just so you know, the Wii's a dead system. It's a dead system. Once Nintendo, that Wii U dropped last year, all support for the original Wii was killed. Dead. Which means, outside of a palm full of new games released, not even a handful, a palm full of new games released sporadically over the past year, you're most likely going to be tracking down used, second-hand Wii games, which means Nintendo or whoever develops these games don't get money from that. So you're not going to be turning a profit from more Wii games because most of them are going to be used. So what's the point of the Wii Mini? As a replacement Wii, it's a failure. As a budget-level, entry-level console, it's a failure as well. It's not a console that appears to be hackable unless you were to tear the thing apart and put it back together. What's the point of the Wii Mini? I'm not sure I know. And apparently neither does anybody else, because it took Best Buy up to 4 months to even move units. Not even sell out, just moving units. There's a Walmart, that I go to every so often. It has a couple Wii Minis on display behind the glass since probably January, February, and they still haven't sold those. And those are the only two places I've seen selling the things. I tried a couple other Walmarts. They're not selling the things. Excuse me. I go to the neighboring Future Shop that's a couple blocks away from the Best Buy. They're not selling those things either. They're selling, they're still selling a couple original Wiis that they have in backstock for about $100, which, all things considered, is a much better deal than the Wii Mini, because at least when you're getting an original Wii, you're getting all the Wii games, and I guess not the GameCube compatibility because they got rid of that with the revisions, but you're getting the online, which means you're getting the Wii Shop, bunch of games there, worth playing. You're getting the full package at least. I guess I could see the Wii Mini being an oddball collector's item for collectors to buy in a box, and then they keep it stored on ice for about 10 to 20 years, where its perceived stock would rise to about $11 billion or whatever the fuck value they boost these things up to. I'm guessing the people who bought those Wii Minis from Best Buy were collectors most likely, because I don't recall anybody buying, someone I know, a friend of mine I know, said, what's the point of getting a Wii Mini for $100 that only plays Wii games and fuck all anything else when you get an Xbox 360 for $100 more? And that's what he did. He got one of his cousins an Xbox 360, one of those 4-giggers, and he retrofitted it with a terabyte hard drive, because you actually do that. You get the $200. You could get the $200. The cheapo Xbox 360 with the 4-gigger, which doesn't seem like much, but you can actually install a hard drive in it, and you enjoy your games there, which I thought brilliant, because at least you could do that. But you can't even add online capability to a Wii Mini, which is I don't know. For $100, you might as well buy yourself a Ouya or a Game Stick or one of those cheapo Android consoles, because you'll get more value for money, especially since they'll still make new games for those things, and they're easy to access. Or just track down a refurb the Wii, which does everything the Wii Mini does and much more. And those are probably going to be cheaper. You know, you might stumble across a refurb Wii for, I don't know, 50, 70 bucks maybe, if you look hard enough. So I've said my bit. And hopefully this holiday season, if you're looking to give your young one a video game console to introduce them, or you're looking for a cheapo video game console in general, don't get a Wii Mini. There are better alternatives out there for budget consoles. Get a Super Nintendo. Lots of classic games there. Get a regular Nintendo. Lots of great entry-level titles there. Actually go backwards a bit. Genesis, Atari, PlayStation 2 if you don't want to go that far. Get yourself a refurbed Wii or an Xbox. Get yourself informed on what's out there. And don't just buy a Wii Mini for your kid just because it's convenient and it's there. Because otherwise you'll be no better than that Fargo witch giving away letters to poor trick-or-treaters telling them they're fat. Just some food for thought. This ran a little longer than I had anticipated, but yeah, I just thought I'd get my bit out there as somebody who has seen Wii Minis on sale and still see Wii Minis on sale because only a few people bought them. And it took Best Buy the better part of a year to go from 20 to 30 Wii Minis to just 2 or 3. And I don't think they ever restocked on Wii Minis. Ever. So, just thought I'd toss in my 5 cents there because they got rid of the penny here in Canada. That would make Uncle Jimmy happy, by the way, because he hates pennies apparently. Or something. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. Okay, so this ran on for too long. If you stuck around for this entire diatribe, I thank you for it. And till next time, take care and good night.